Spoiler edition is coming up, so if you don't want to see it, if you don't want any spoilers, you want to cut it off right now.
Do it.
Right now.
Do it now! Now! Yes, spoilers ahead, guys. Spoilers. Spoilers. If you haven't seen this film yet, turn back now, because we are going to be discussing spoilers in 5, 4, 3. You have 3 seconds to turn back. 2. Only 2 now. 1. Here we go.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Everybody dies. I'm out.
See you guys. All right, we are now in the spoiler edition of this review. So let's talk it out, man.
All right. So, well, as you know, we had our pros and cons list. So, well, I want to group in my funny and Baby Groot because basically Baby Groot, everything about Baby Groot was hysterical.
Yeah.
And
from the minute he first appeared on the screen, man.
That opening sequence is, the first 15 minutes is so good. He was walking around like in his own world. He's playing the Awesome Mix on the speakers because Rocket made some speakers for him. And he is in his own world doing his own thing while everybody's in the background basically getting their butts kicked by like a Japanese tentacle monster.
Yeah.
And we know what Japanese tentacle monsters are. So, hey.
To the kids, do not look that up.
Please do not look that up.
Don't let Joey Dee put that in your head. My God,
PG-13.
man.
This is PG-13.
Ah! All right. Yeah, now I can't unsee that. Thank you. Oh. All right. All right. Yeah, so it was amazing because Baby Groot appears and Mr. Blue Sky starts playing by ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, and he just starts dancing along while meanwhile, in the background, the Guardians are fighting, getting their butts kicked by this monster that they've been hired to kill. And it's amazing because it just shows you how oblivious Baby Groot is. He's just so sweet and childlike. You know, there's a part where Gamora appears. She's like, Groot, get out of the way, you're going to get hurt. And then Groot waves to her. She's like, hi. She just like thinks he's adorable. I love that.
Oh my God. Baby Groot was so amazing. So, a little known fact, Groot, actually, full-grown Groot, it does have a genius level intellect. However, we don't know it because we don't understand his language.
Only Rocket does. And I guess Peter now.
Peter does understand what he's saying.
Yep. Which is awesome. And
that's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah. we'll get into that because I don't want to take away his take on it.
It is all right. So, there's not much we can talk about with the action as far as anything outside the end sequence. That end sequence, and this is where it kind of goes in work with my con, actually. Yeah. So I will talk about my con, actually. I do want to talk about that.
Let's go for it.
My con, like I said before, it was too many villains. So they were going against the Sovereign.
Yep.
Who in the opening sequence, which, like I said, set up the first 15 minutes, set up the whole movie. Rocket stole some batteries from the Sovereign because this tentacle monster was actually there to suck the juice out the battery. So it is a tentacle monster.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like a leech thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The Sovereign paid him to stop this beast. And Rocket stole a few batteries. They're pissed about that. So they're going after him for the batteries, or the whole Guardians, because they don't really know which one stole them.
They just think the Guardians got paid to do a job and they also stole from them.
Right.
So like double dipping pretty much.
Yeah, and you know, they're kind of uppity, so you know, they get really offended by the slightest slights.
Yeah.
But they're after him through the whole movie. And then you have the main antagonist, which is Ego.
Major spoilers.
Yes, major. So, but that's why it's spoiler.
Yeah, of course. I'm letting anyone know for any of those people out there that are still watching this and haven't seen the film, turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Do it now. Ah!
He was their main antagonist, and they're at the end fight, the climactic fight of the movie. They're still there.
Yeah,
you know, they're still fighting these guys here too, and it's like, all right, I get that they're pissed, but I feel as though they could have did what the first Batman movie did, which was they had the Scarecrow in the first one, but Ra's al Ghul in the League of Shadows was the actual main guy.
Yeah,
they got rid of Scarecrow not fairly early, but early enough to where you're paying attention.
He was removed from the final act,
right? And I felt like they didn't do that. They included them into the final act. I didn't like it. I felt like it was too much going on, which, I mean, it kind of added an extra dimension there, but if you know Ego's a planet. You know, that's already a dimension. You're already fighting multiple monsters because this dude controls a planet. You got your extra dimensional, extra people there. You don't need this extra thing, you know, trying to block your way, because the planet shouldn't be blocking its own way.
Yeah. Okay. I totally get that. And on the flip side of that, because I will say, I was kind of worried, and we talked about this earlier, that they were going to take it where it was going to be something similar to what happened in the first Guardians. There was going to be this big debacle between the Guardians and the Sovereign, and, you know, Ego, which I knew from the get-go was going to be the ultimate big bad, because I'm familiar with the comics, and I know that Ego, the living planet, has never been an ally to anyone. He's literally a celestial. He's like above everyone else, and because he's lived for so long, he's become power hungry and pretty much insane.
Yeah. Like all extremely old, powerful things do become.
Yeah. Like criminally insane. Which actually, I will say there was one piece that I did not expect. And that was the part with Peter's mom. Like, I was like, oh, you bastard.
Oh, yeah.
You need to die now. Like, that was very well done, because I knew that he was definitely nefarious, but I never would have expected that aspect.
And ironically, which, because we're in a spoiler review, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Ego planted put the tumor in Peter's mom. You know, it was him that did it.
Yeah, he literally killed Peter's mom.
So
because he loved her so much that she kept him from fulfilling his plan of literal galaxy-wide domination. So he's like, so I had to cut the ties and kill her.
Yeah. So
are you kidding me?
which sucks, but I actually I saw it coming.
Really?
I was like, because when he first gets introduced to Ego on his planet, he's going through the whole thing and where they're showing the little pods and him doing all this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But when he showed that he was making other children around the world,
yeah,
for some reason I felt like that's what he was doing to the parents.
I can see that.
For some reason it was like he killed her.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't make that connection. I just figured that, you know, he's literally the embodiment of his name, Ego.
Yeah.
He was trying to be fruitful and multiply, literally.
Which is awesome, by the way. Like I don't suggest you do it because overpopulation. However, that is awesome.
I expected what was going to happen is they were going to have the Sovereign and the Guardians were going to have this big clash all throughout the movie, and then Ego was going to be outed as the big bad. And it's like, oh, okay, now the Sovereign and the Guardians have to unite to take down Ego. Kind of like what they did with what happened in the first Guardians with the Nova Corps. And I'm glad they didn't do that, because on the flip side of what you said, it didn't retread what happened in the first film, because that would have been exactly what happened. The big bad comes into the picture, starts destroying stuff, like cataclysmic type things, and everyone has to unite to stop them. So I'm glad that it got flipped on its head. It's like, no, we're not coming here to help you. We're going to try and kill you as well. We don't care what's going on over here. We only care about you. You're going to die. Whatever he does, that's on him. But you're going to go first.
They call it the true tunnel vision.
Yep.
Which was which was cool. I get that, and with it being the Sovereign, I get it wholly. They would do that.
Yeah.
You know,
but no, I totally understand it. It kind of was a little bit of overload, and then you also throw in the fact that there was Taserface, which
see, which I thought personally, I thought that was a good side plot there.
Yeah,
I thought they were a good side plot. So I thought they could have done their thing, and we could have got rid of the Sovereign halfway through the movie.
Sure.
Right before we got to Taserface, we could have got rid of the Sovereign.
Sure.
You know. Probably when they introduced Ego, and then Taserface comes in, and he's the next issue. I don't mind there being multiple villains, but if you layer them, show the team overcoming these obstacles as you progress in it. So you get rid of this antagonist as this baddie is coming along, and their plot's getting thicker, because you don't need ultra deep, big baddies in all your movies. You need one that's real good and complex, but then you just need some of those 2-dimensional characters that's throwaway, basically. Yeah. And
I get that.
And if you can do that, you're great. And
it makes sense.
And I think Taserface was perfect for that.
It was, and you know, it was made apparent that he was a joke, especially with Rocket.
Yes.
So I agree with you. It was very well done, and it created the perfect subplot because it gave character growth for Rocket, Yondu, and even Nebula, and by extension, Baby Groot, even in some aspects. So it did a good job with creating enough of a conflict where it propels our characters forward.
Right, and that's what I think. I don't think the Sovereign did that at all.
No, they just created tension.
Right. I think it could have went a more dramatic route with to propel the character's growth.
Sure. I can see that. Let's get right into it then. You're talking about like the growth and everything. My con, which I mentioned earlier, the villain's plot. And by the villain's plot, I mean Ego's plan. When it's revealed that he's this great big bad, the rabbit hole goes much deeper than I expected it to. You find out that not only did he try and create offspring so he could ultimately create his plan of literal galactic-wide domination, but he was also planting plants, like these little extensions of himself on each planet. So when he would get the power from both himself and by extension his offspring, he could remake the entire galactic universe into him. I'm like, why?
That didn't make sense to me either. I would figure he would want more light sources.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense to me. He was creating more light sources, and in turn, the light sources would extinguish planets, which would be backlash, I guess, from it, or the side effect of it, which he may have not have known, or he did know and was like, well, it's just life. I don't really care. I've been alone for millions of years.
Yep.
Which I can see, but just to extinguish planets so he can be all over, that kind of seems stupid.
Yeah, it didn't really make much sense. What I thought would have happened was he would have put his extensions out there of each planet, and then he would create armies of himself to create and control all life. I thought that's where they were going to go with it. But when it's revealed, when he starts using Peter as the power source and igniting all of the pieces of himself in the forms of these plants on each of the planets, including Earth, they're just these giant blue blobs that just consume everything. And you realize all Ego is trying to do is to consume each planet, bring all the matter together, and become one giant mega super planet that is just all Ego. I didn't agree with that. It didn't make any sense to me. It kind of removed a little bit of understanding for me, like, his motivations. So that for me, I'm like, he had me up to that point. I'm like, well, no, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I get that you think that the only way, here's how it would have worked better for me. If they would have taken a step further, rolled with what he was saying, And then he would say, once everything is consumed, I'll recreate life in my own image and become God. That's where it should have gone. I just feel like it was almost there, but they stopped it where it didn't make sense to me.
And that's what I was thinking was going to go on. He was going to make all the planets in his image to how his planet looks, which would have him as a light source, or a piece of him as a light source, which, if you didn't know, he left Earth because he had to get back to his planet to recharge, apparently. He can't be away from his planet for too long.
Yep.
And if he made a light source on every planet that he goes to, he never really has to go back home.
Yeah. That would have made sense, yeah. Because then his reach would go all throughout the stars, and there would be no place he couldn't go for an amount of time. Because, like, that could be something everyone quickly figures out. Oh, he can only be here for this amount of time. We just have to hold him off until he goes. Right. And then we try and kill him when he needs to go recharge.
Which, I think that would have been great. Like I said, and the after effect of it, or the side effect of that, would be extinguishing life, which by the time he went so power hungry, he would go power hungry and he wouldn't care. Yeah. Which would have been great, because I thought his planet was beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I swear there were like birds and stuff on it.
Was there?
I swear there were other life forms on the planet outside of Mantis. He created all these planets, like, and to redo them in his image like that, and there's just people there. He's like, hey, you guys are going to get this awesomeness, which is a part of me, which I thought would be great and very egotistical.
Yeah.
Which I would have thought was great, because I would have did that. That's what I would do.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, I think we can both agree that was kind of like a point where it lost a little bit of steam for me. Not enough to ruin the movie for me, which it didn't. No part of the film ruined the movie for me. That was a part where I was like, well, I disagree in the motivations there. That doesn't make much sense to me. But I rolled with it because it's like, well, maybe, you know, for this all-powerful being that's lived millions of years, maybe we're past the point of being rational. We're just to the point of, I've done the whole letting everyone live type thing. Now I'm just going to consume all and keep it all to myself because I'm the only one worthy of it. That was his ultimate goal when he first went out into the stars, was I wanted life. I wanted to share life with someone. And then I was left wanting.
So I can get why he'd be kind of peed off, but it is what it is. Easter eggs. Like, so there's a lot of Easter eggs. I obviously didn't catch them all because I'm not the encyclopedia. But there were a few obvious ones to me. Howard the Duck pops up again. Love that. I love the fact that they're putting him in there, because the last time they put him in there, actually, he had a new comic book come out, which was great. We popped up with the Watchers, which was awesome. I really liked that they brought those guys in there, because I was like, oh my God, I actually know who these guys are.
And to your point with that, we give credence to the popular fan theory that Stan Lee either is or is a part of the Watchers. So every time we've ever seen him appear all throughout the Marvel movies, it's the same guy.
I know you probably saw more Easter eggs than I did outside of one of the end credits, which the Sovereign, in reverse order, I found out, created Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock is first. But they are in turn creating him.
Yes, and I love that. Because that was probably the one where, and even people watching this right now who've seen the film, where it's revealed that Aisha, the main leader of the Sovereign, is standing there saying that she's created this ultimate being that will destroy the Guardians. And she said, I think I'll call him Adam. When that scene ended, it was funny because we knew what it was, Adam Warlock. And there was other super fans out there like, oh my God, Adam Warlock, that's amazing. And then I heard a lot of people were like, who's Adam? I can't fault them because they don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes and they haven't been invested in the comic book world. But yes, Adam Warlock is a sentient being that is powered by an Infinity Stone, which he may or may not be in this film. I don't know how they're going to play that because technically Vision is already powered by an Infinity Stone, so it wouldn't make sense for two beings to be powered by him now. But Adam Warlock is like this ultimate good. He's created, and he's like a savior of the universe. He becomes part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He can actually go toe-to-toe with Thanos And he even at one point wields the Infinity Gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones. He has that type of level of power. So it's super exciting to see that he's going to be a player, if not in Avengers Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, definitely.
Yeah, which I think would be really good, especially with Infinity War coming up. Yes. If he's joining, he's like that force, because, I mean, yeah, Captain America can do his thing, Iron Man can do that. Hulk can probably punch him real good, but he's like their dark side.
Yeah.
You know. And I'll talk about that later at another time, but I want to talk about Groot.
Yes.
So Groot is my favorite character of these Guardians of the Galaxy because he's adorable. But we see a not so adorable Groot. We see teenage Groot.
That was such an unexpected surprise, dude.
He plays video games all day. Apparently he has vines all over the place. I don't know what those vines are supposed to be, but I'm afraid to know. I'm afraid to ask the question of what these vines are, but they're there.
He apparently thinks Peter is boring.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Yeah. It was kind of a 1-2 punch, because we saw this other version of Groot we never thought we would see. You know, this attitude, not caring, not wanting to do anything, so play video games. And then we see kind of a role reversal with Peter, where he becomes like the dad, and he's like, now I understand what Yondu went through. Oh my God, I'm Yondu.
Yes.
And then on top of that, we get the other reveal that he can now understand Groot, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
Because, like, Groot says, I am Groot. And he's like, I'm not boring. How dare you?
Which is great. I love that. And maybe it's because they've been around for so long. But you were talking about character development.
Yes.
Let's talk on that, because there's a few points we want to get into.
Of course. So for character development, I loved how Star-Lord, you know, in this constant search of, you know, and he says it outright, I have there's no reason for me to go back to Earth. That's where my mom died. I don't want to go back there. You know, he finds family in his dad, and it's one of those things where Peter has to learn who his true family is, and it ends up being the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, Drax, Rocket, Groot, even Yondu, who gets some major development, and he realizes that Yondu, even though he was brash and he went about things the wrong way, like specifically saying that he wanted to eat him all the time, he was actually being a good father. And he realized that, you know, the overarching elements of family, and, you know, family is who you choose it to be. I loved that. So you get that with Gamora, you know, realizing all this time that Nebula, the relationship between Gamora and Nebula hated Gamora because Gamora always wanted to win, and Nebula would be ultimately, oh, we have light.
Oh, yeah. Looks good. Looks good.
Nice. It was almost like a light bulb. It was like, ding! The bearded comment said something smart. The development between Gamora and Nebula, where Nebula hated her sister because Gamora was better than her, and every time that Nebula would fail, Thanos would literally torture her, remove like limbs, eyeballs, skulls, and replace her with cybernetic elements to make her on Gamora's level. And all Nebula wanted, and the reason why she's driven by like this hatred and this, like, you know, lust to kill, is because of what happened with Gamora. And she says the line, which is so heartbreaking, you just wanted to win, I just wanted a sister. You're like,
oh my God.
Oh. So there's some growth on Gamora's part where she doesn't even realize that, because on Gamora's end, she is under the control of this evil mad god Titan who will kill her if she doesn't do everything he says. So she's just trying to survive and look out for herself, not even realizing that Nebula is going through these horrible, horrible, torturous situations because of her. And there's this growth and development between the two of them where they find a love for each other and they apologize and they move forward. And it's so good. So, I loved what they did with Yondu in this movie.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yondu
Go ahead, sir.
Was amazing in this. I loved his growth. We get the whole Yondu's going to eat you type of thing and all that in the first movie. And we realize that Yondu is actually, he has a heart, because what we find out is he's a part of a Ravengers group that has been disowned. We come to find out there's another group on a planet, and he immediately sees the guy. He's a higher ranking official.
Played by Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
I heard that voice. I looked at him. I'm like, I know that voice.
Yes. I knew Judge Dredd was coming. The judge was coming. But he salutes him, and he's like, oh, you guys serve these guys? Oh, well, there's 99 Ravengers groups, and you guys decide to do this one that's not a part of us, so you'll never see the other 99 again.
Yeah.
And walks off the planet and you see Yondu's heart breaks from it. Like, he is so broken by this because they were friends. That's all he wanted to be. He wanted to be a part of something. And you see that, and it was beautiful. But you see the reason, and the reason all behind it is because of Peter. It's because he kept a kid. He had this kid. They realized that they were dealing with kids, and they don't like that. You know, Ravengers steal and all that, so they needed somebody small to get in these places. And you realize it was because he found out that Ego had all these kids around the planet, or all around the galaxies, and he was killing them.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yondu realized that he was being paid by Ego to bring all these kids, and he says it. He was young and stupid, and the money was good. So he's literally bringing these kids to Ego, and once he realizes that Ego is not, it's not like one of those things where it's like, help me find my son, help me find my daughter. It's like, help me find my son and or daughter so they can be brought here to the planet. I can use their power like a battery and kill them. Once Yondu figured that out, that's why Peter was never taken to Ego. And it's an unspoken thing that even Yondu doesn't say. He hides it behind, well, I could have taken you to him. He's like, but I also didn't have to eat you. Like, you know, it's like one of those things like where you realize that Yondu actually loved Peter. He didn't have a good way of showing it, but deep down, he did it the best way that he could.
Yeah.
And that was...
Yeah. It got you in the feels. It got you so in the feels.
So in the feels, guys.
Rocket was great. His whole story, him and Yondu actually bonded with that.
Yeah.
With their thing, because they both were people who felt like they didn't belong. You know, they didn't have, what do you say, family or things like that, and they pushed people away on purpose. And when they realized they had what they were looking for all along, right there in front of them, and yeah, it was great. It was a feel thing.
It was.
Made you cry a little bit.
It really did. Yondu, I love what they did with Yondu. I love what they did with Rocket. Peter and Gamora. That was what I kind of talked about in the non-spoiler edition of this review. It's like Peter says. It's like that TV show where it's the will they, won't they, and you know they spend seasons trying to figure that out, and there's that tension build. And once it's revealed that there is something between them, the ratings go down. I love that because there definitely is something between Peter and Gamora, but it's taking its time.
I like that they're playing it how they would on TV. He explained it out just like that. It was literally explained out just like that in the movie, and it was a will they, won't they. When they do, the ratings go down. So they kept it a will they, won't they. And I love that. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that was a smart move on their part.
Definitely.
I like the fact that he called that James Gunn was able to call it out.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
it was very meta, but awesome for sure. So that aspect was great too, because you know for a fact that Gamora has feelings for Peter. That's definitely there, but she hides it behind, you know, I'm going to dance with you, and then she realizes, oh, I'm dancing. You tell me when I do this, I will kill you. And it's like, you know, she's not kidding. It's so awesome. Drax. I love what they did with Drax.
I loved it. I want to talk about this guy.
He went from being this depressed, angry dude to being so happy.
Yeah, his personality has changed. Yeah. He is a literal dude, so you get that, and you see that in the commercials. he's laughing at the guy like, oh, you got feelings for this person and blah blah blah. He's so literal, but he's kind of learning a little bit, and him and Mantis.
Yeah.
Like,
that was so good.
Mantis is he played a joke on Mantis. He did a practical joke. Like, I've never seen it, and he did it his own way, where it was she thought that Rocket was a puppy, and she thought Rocket was their puppy. So she asked, could she pet him? He was like, no. Yes, go and pet her.
Meanwhile, he's like maniacally smirking when she turns away, knowing damn good and well what was going to happen the minute that Mantis tried to pet Rocket. And he just starts cracking up when Rocket turns around trying to snap her hand off.
Oh, yeah. Yes. She almost got rabies. Him and Mantis had this relationship. They were kind of feeling each other. It was kind of almost a will they won't they, in my personal opinion. He called her ugly at first. You know, but he said he even said he was trying to get that out of his head or something, some type of romantic feelings out of his head by calling her that. Yeah. And he even tried to give her a pep talk in his own way. Yeah. It was really great. And
then like at the very end when, you know, it's like Mantis says that it's beautiful and it's the end part of the movie, and Drax goes, and so are you. On the inside.
And I love his explanation of Peter and Gamora in their dancing. Yeah. He's a dancer, Peter, and Gamora's not. And he was saying how when he met his wife, some song was playing, everybody's dancing, and his wife never moved a muscle. It was almost like she was dead.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's when he knew she was the one for him.
It's so good because he's being so honest, and it's like this beautiful, attractive feature that he feels that she has. And Peter's like looking at him like, "You're being serious right now."
It's like, really, you really just not even a muscle, huh? She didn't even tap her foot, and it was so great. Good. Peter is fairly pretty much the same outside. He knows who his father is. To me, I think even in the beginning, I felt like he kind of had what's the word I'm looking for? A teenage-like attitude.
Swagger.
With him, because it was, they were talking about his father, and he was like, I don't want to talk about it. You know, he kind of gave that, like, we don't talk about that. I don't know who he is. Well, we're going to find out this movie, because obviously that's way too much. Yep. You're talking about this way too much. Yep. So that was kind of one of those things. It didn't throw me out, but it seemed like it was a little bit odd for him to say it, because I would figure he would go with the whole, he thought his dad was David Hasselhoff, which if you see the movie, which you should have if you're watching this review, he thought the Hoff was his dad. And the Hoff was his dad.
So yeah, the character growth was amazing for all of them, for every single Guardian.
Everybody got screen time. I love that. Yep. Everybody got enough screen time. No story was rushed.
Final thoughts. Let's both give top 5 favorite moments from the films. I'll start with you, sir. And if you want, you can throw all 5 of yours out at once, or we can alternate however you want to do it.
We can alternate, because I'm not sure if I can remember all 5 parts. No.
But, and they don't have to be in any particular order, just however you remember them.
All right. Opening sequence with Baby Groot. Amazing. It was so amazing, and that will probably be my favorite part of all these movies, all the Marvel movies.
All right, we're one for one, because that's one of my favorites as well. Next one, sir.
Let's see. The Watchers. Seeing those guys on film actually kind of made me a little teary, misty-eyed, because it was something I wasn't going to expect. Not until closer to the Infinity Wars, because I would figure they would bring those in, since Infinity War is basically supposed to be like kind of their mountaintop. I figured they would bring those guys in for the new era.
Well, it's entirely possible that the reason we're seeing them now is because they'll play a major role in the Infinity War. And we're kind of getting a little bit of our feet wet and familiar with them. Here's hoping, guys. All right, so my second favorite. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Yes. Oh my God.
That was so great.
If you guys have seen this, oh my God. Yondu saying that line is probably the best.
Because it's at this moment where Peter is just in awe, realizing that Yondu is really his dad. And he's like, this is my dad. My dad is awesome. And, you know, he has to follow it up with, because Yondu's like, what are you looking at? And, of course, they have to have, like, this, well, I can't tell you what I really feel. He's like, nothing, you just, like, look like Mary Poppins, which is only an insult to Peter, because Peter is familiar with that movie. Yondu has no idea who that is. And it's told by what he says, because he's like, is he cool? Says he. And then Peter's like, yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Oh my God.
It's so good. I love that. I love that. So your next favorite moment, sir?
Let's see here. I got something in my eyes, guys. Sorry, I'm misty-eyed. Actually, it was something we didn't talk about, which was Yondu's funeral.
Oh.
Because Yondu actually did give the ultimate fatherly sacrifice and save Peter at the end, towards the end.
Yeah.
And he sacrificed himself and passed. He died. And it kind of got me. It was like, oh man, I like Yondu. He was really cool in this movie.
Yeah, and because it added that extra dimension of, like, you know, Yondu telling Peter that I did everything I did. I didn't do it the best way, but I did everything I did because I loved you like my son. He says that line. It's like, ego may have been your pop, but I was your daddy.
Right.
I'm like, oh, God.
You catch those back, what's the word I'm looking for? The flashbacks of Peter learning how to shoot, and you see Yondu doing all this stuff. And, you know, it does. It catches you in the feels a little bit. But it was, after all that, they found out, because I believe Rocket told the other Ravager groups, corps out there, his sacrifice, and they came out and gave him a proper funeral. And it was really good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It caught me there.
Yep.
And I do got something in my eye. Seriously, it's allergy time, so I'm not actually crying.
No, I agree with you 100%, dude. I loved the whole redemption arc that they gave Yondu because, like I said before, if you're familiar with the comics at all, Yondu is actually part of the original members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this was kind of a departure where we caught up with him. So to see, you know, after all this time, he actually was trying to be a hero in his own way, and ultimately, in the end, he was amazing. And I've always loved that character. So actually, one of my third favorite parts was the scene where he gets his prototype Finn, and he just destroys the entire Ravager crew.
That was my number 4.
Oh, man, that entire scene, just, he's walking through, whistling, they're all falling down like rain. And you got, I don't remember what track was playing, but the track was perfect.
Yes.
And then they go into the center console room, and Yondu's just looking at all the screens, sending the arrows to kill everyone. Rocket's having a blast, laughing and shooting through the walls, killing everyone with him.
Baby Groot's out there killing a guy off a bridge.
It was beautiful. That entire scene.
It was
beautiful.
Great. it was great. And you kind of saw, you saw it a little bit in the first movie, the power that Yondu's whistle had.
Yeah.
But in this, you saw the full capability of this thing. Like
next level, dude. So that was your next favorite as well?
That was actually my next favorite.
Okay. So we're up to 4.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Teenage Groot.
That's a good one.
Teenage Groot was amazing. He was awesomely funny. Even for that brief second, it was everything you wanted to see in what a Teenage Groot would look like.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on that.
I wonder how tall he is. You know, because he was sitting. He was almost as tall as Peter.
He's got to be as tall as Peter at this point, because Groot is like a good, like probably about up to here when he's
7 to 9 feet
grown.
tall.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of coincide one another, so you'll know what I mean when I say it. When Peter is learning that he's a celestial, like his dad, and he's got all these powers, and he's like, "You mean I could build statues and stuff like you?" And he's like, "I'm going to build a Heather Locklear statue. I'm going to build a Pac-Man statue." And his dad's like, "Whatever you want." And he's like, "I'm going to build some weird shit."
Yes. Yes, I agree. I was actually going for that one. That was going to be my number 5. But
so
yes.
Good.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm going to build some weird shit." But, however, I'm guessing with that, in fight, he actually made a Pac-Man.
Yeah, when he's going on, like when his father and him are literally charging at each other with like these powered forms, his dad like takes this rock form version of himself. Peter, on the other hand, builds himself into a Pac-Man, complete with the color and music going, "Oh wow, 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 wow." And that's my number 5. I lost it. I'm like, he's literally Pac-Man. So it just shows that Peter shines through, even through like this key moment of like ultimate pain. Like, I gotta destroy my dad who killed my mom and is going to literally destroy the universe. That quirkiness that is Peter is still there, and he just literally becomes Pac-Man to take his dad down.
That's funny.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. He had my 4.
Well, I had your 4 too.
Yeah, you have my 4 and 5.
But that's just because we're on similar wavelengths, guys. And I'm sure that those were probably your favorite moments too. But let us know what your favorite moments in the film were, like what your pros and cons were. I'd love to get a conversation started with you guys.
Yeah, let's get a conversation started. I want to know what you hated. I want to know your hate. I want all the hate. You can give him all the compliments. You know, he thrives on that. His beard gets a little bit longer every time you write a good comment. So
what am I, the Grinch? It's like what they know. Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small beard grew 3 sizes that day. Yeah, sure. Yeah, but let us know, guys, in the comment section below what you loved from the movie, what you didn't like from the movie, if you agree with our points, if you have anything to add or directly contradict, let us know. We'd love to get a conversation started with you guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe today. This is my friend Joey Dee. Make sure you go follow him on all of his stuff. Go subscribe to him. His channel will be in the description of this video, as well as his Instagram. Go follow him. Tell him the Bearded Con Man sent you. And guys, thank you again. Remember, Beard. Be exceptional and rad dudes. I am the Bearded Con Man.
I'm Joey Dee.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. And we will see you next time.